So this is my family land, and I've got about 150 acres. All the little yellow markers you see, those are pecan trees that I planted. Right here, here's one. Ta-da! It's got little limbs coming off of it. I've gone through and I've bush hogged the whole property, and I bush hogged really close. If you can see, like right here. I got really close to these trees with the bush hog, and I'm glad I did, because I got to clear like a 4 to 6 foot ring around these things. You'll see right here. See this? I'm gonna weed eat all of these trees and cut these the brush away from the trees so that it's no longer there. But for the most part, most of these trees are done because I bush hogged. So I've done most of my work. Then I'm gonna come back with weed cloth, and on the ones that I feel like are having a harder time, I'm gonna definitely put weed cloth on them. And then I'm gonna put down extra weed cloth that I happen to have. I'll put down on the rest of the trees. I think I can cover around 250 trees with weed cloth. But again, like I got this I gotta deal with, and I'm gonna do that right now. So I'm gonna say sayonara, and I got about 400 trees to weed eat around, which I'm not super excited about. I'm getting dirty. I'm gonna try to sort of demonstrate to you guys what I'm dealing with, so you can see what I have to do for each tree. So first of all, like this stuff is actually dead because this was sprayed, and I can pull it up. Pull it up and I'll throw it. Some of this is not, like there's some briar bushes. Okay, so now like the thick stuff is gone. Now I'm going to weed eat it. I'm gonna put that right up against there, that against the trunk, and then I'm gonna rotate around like this. That way I can get super close to the trunk, but the wire will never touch it because there's a thing that blocks it. What do they call that? The deck. I guess it's got a deck that will block it. So that's what I'm gonna do. Right, let me crank it. So let me give you some stats on this. It's the Husqvarna 523L. Has a max power of 8,500 RPM. The torque max is 6,000 RPMs. And the max RPM output of the shaft is 6,500 RPMs. So it's moving pretty fast. Oh, I just want to show you like what I'm cutting through. So it's this stuff. And like those, and then like this stuff here. And like this stuff, which I can't stand. It's like pricker bushes and stuff. See how big they get? And then you run up against things like this and this, and it's just brutal. Now most of this stuff isn't right up on the trees because I've already bladed with them, but I've got to clear a 6 foot spot, and like this here, and so that's what I'm running into, because all this stuff right here is that, like, it's just heavy duty stuff. But the weed eater's doing great. It's a Husqvarna. It's a commercial one. It's got a gearbox here that's supposed to be stronger than your typical gearbox. And yeah, I mean, I can't tell you when I started using the string as opposed to this blade here, which you can see like the edges are all, they're just worn out from hitting sand and stuff. But when I switched to this wire, oh man, what a difference. And it cuts fast. Let me take a second to tell you why the weed eater wire is so much faster than the saw blade. Honestly, I never should have used the saw blade in the first place. I should have been using the weed eater wire the whole time. But my weeds were so thick and so big that I was worried the weed eater wire wouldn't be able to take care of it. But I was wrong. This wire is tough and strong, and it cuts through almost every single weed that I've come in contact with. And if I come across a small tree or a root, I just pull out my clippers and I clip it and move on. With the saw blade, you're constantly hitting the sand and the dirt with it. The problem is, it dulls it. And once the saw blade's dull, it's done. With the weed eater wire, I don't have to worry about it dulling, I just have to worry about it breaking. And if it breaks, I just tap the end of the weed eater on the ground and it spools me out some more wire. So it's super easy and fast. This gator wire is kicking ass, so get it. These are my amlings, and it's a pollinator row. I've already sort of weed eated with the saw blade. I want to clear this out a little more. So these little guys are no fun. So if I had this to do all over again, I would just use a really heavyweight weed eater line. And then if I happen to come up to something that's a little bit bigger that the wire can't cut through, I just pull out my clippers out of my pocket and snip it, or just pull it straight out of the ground, one of the two. Also, something else I want to tell you about weed eating, especially stuff like this, which is really thick, really big weeds, is that the weed eater's wire is spinning around super fast. And when it cuts through these large weeds, you're not only hitting weeds, but you're hitting wood chips and all kinds of stuff, and it makes everything fly. So that's why I wear a jacket when I'm working. And absolute must is eyewear, because I can't tell you how many times I actually got hit in the face by flying debris. It wasn't just small debris, like it was big chunks of wood. And the last thing you want to do is go losing an eye while you're weed eating. So definitely wear, some safety goggles. They're not expensive, just get them from Amazon. I recommend wearing some long pants, maybe something with some padding, because my shins got cut up like you wouldn't believe from sticks and other pieces of debris slamming up against my shins while I was doing this. I mean, it's not a matter of, oh my God, I might get hit in the eye. I'm telling you, if you're cutting stuff like I'm cutting, you're gonna get hit in the face with debris. Okay, so I've got like 2 more down there to do. And literally just in this little area that I did, I've gone through 30 feet of this, my weed eater wire, which seems kind of crazy, except they still have briars and brambles and smaller like bushes and beginnings of trees and stuff. So you'll see I got a nice little ring cleared around each one of these, about 6 foot. I just whack the hell out of it. I don't care if I use a bunch of wire, I just want to whack it down. So yeah, that's what I'm up to, but these are looking pretty good. I just want to point something else out. Look at how when you use the weed eater, it mulches like insanely. It's pretty awesome. This stuff out here is especially tough. Looks like I've got crop circles going here. This row actually did really good. These are called amlings. They're stronger than the Gaffords. They're tough little trees. Here, look at this. See, that is cracking and drying there, but it's alive. So I'm just hoping that it'll be okay. So in summary, use the weed eater wire. Don't be afraid of it. Get a nice thick diameter wire and just have at it. Use the deck on the weed eater, pull it right up against the trees and rotate around it, and then the wire won't hit the trees. Next time, whenever I'm doing weeding, I'm very rarely gonna use that saw blade. 1, it gets dull when it hits sand, and 2, it just isn't as fast as the wire. The wire is incredibly fast and it will take out a lot more than you think. Also with the wire, it actually mulches up the grass really nice. That's really great for decomposition and all of that. And those are the tips and tricks I have. That's what I'm dealing with, and it's a lot of work. Big shout out to Signature Tracks at signaturetracks.com for their awesome music, and to BORIS SAPPHIRE for their industry-leading visual effects. Thanks for watching LA Editor Alabama King. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and join us on the next one. Okay, today, this episode is all about the weeds. This episode is all cars, horns, all kinds of stuff.